Hello there, and welcome to Life Clarifications with Natasha. I am here today to talk to you about life. I am a medium. I'm very psychic about things. And, we all kind of go through things, and I am one that I can really see into past lives. I can see into a lot of different scenarios in life, and I would just want to help everybody to help with life. And so today, the conversation I wanted to talk about, because it's kind of been in my face about certain things like this, especially after going through Mercury retrograde. And I'm surprised that a lot of us are still married or with relationships after this Mercury retrograde. It's kind of a ha 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 thing, because some of us go through it better than others. And I know that for me, that I usually warn my other half, my husband, that we're going to be going into Mercury, because I know sometimes he struggles with that. Because Mercury is about communication, and we're coming out of it now. And usually Mercury goes into retrograde 3 times a year. And so we get really good at practice at kind of going back over our stories about communication and navigating through life and that kind of thing. So I thought, you know what? Today I'm going to talk about communication with our loved ones. And this is relationships. Relationships with ourselves, relationship with our brothers, sisters, our parents, our sibling, or brothers, sisters, our siblings, haha, our children, our co-workers, whoever this can apply to. I want you to know that it is a story about life. It's a story about what we're doing. And we're never in the place where we're always going to do this perfectly, but I wanted to give you some examples of how to negotiate some of these relationship scenarios. Like, who's really in power? I know that a lot of us want to be right, but are we truly right? What is true right? Because I can tell you that there's perspectives all the way around the brown, and we perceive things in a different way, right? So our perspectives are going to be a little bit different. So truly, who's right? Now, I can tell you, me being intuitive, sometimes I'll have a different perspective on things, because I'll get a feeling, an intuition, I get told by the angels or my guides or whoever that something might happen, right? I'll give you an example. That we were going to go up and visit someone's birthday, and I got told, don't get a cake. And I just couldn't get momentum to go get one. I couldn't get into the mindset of going and getting one. And we didn't do this and I didn't do that. And, you know, and we were getting in huge fights over it. Huge fights over it, because my other half was like, well, we got to do this. We got to do that. We want to do this. We want to do that. Well, it turns out when we got there, the person we would have bought the cake for one, didn't like cake. And for two, there's somebody else that already got them a cake. And us showing up was the greatest gift we could have done. Now, yes, we remembered a card and all that kind of thing. And we did that part better than we did the other parts. But, and the one trick with that one scenario was I never once told my other half, I told you so. Because it wasn't for me to be right. It wasn't for me to be right. And that's the thing that I want people to know and take a perspective about is that really, truly, who is right? Well, I wasn't all right in that scenario. I had more of a different perspective to get a different idea about negotiating it, right? But who was right? Not me and not him. Yet it turned out for the better, me in the moment that I was guided to and listening to that guidance, even if I was kind of not on ball about doing this and doing that. And I know that, things are happening around me. And sometimes, like today, I went to the store, picked up something that I knew I wanted. And then on my way home, I went, what was I thinking? I had to go back to the store and get two of what I bought instead of just one. Because one is a gift and one is for maybe breakfast for tomorrow. We're all in the midst of going forward and trying to do something that we don't always do well. And relationships are huge because of the fact that who were we taught by? Most of our relationships are taught by our parents or family members. I'm going to just put in their family members, right? Because many parents aren't raising our kids nowadays. So it's family members. Or it could be, well, to me, okay, let me clarify that. Because of the fact that family isn't always blood. So with that I want people to know that when I'm talking about family, I'm talking about relationships of someone who is close to you. Like for me, I had a mother of heart. She came into my life a year after my mom passed away. My mother of heart. I didn't treat her as well as I wanted to. Heck, I didn't treat my mom as well as I wanted to. But yet at the same time, there again, she didn't always treat me as well as she wanted to. And neither did my mother treat me as well as she wanted to. Because of the fact that we're all human and we're going to make flubbles. I'm done making mistakes. I call them flubbles. So if I use the word flubble, it's called a mistake in a fashion, but yet I couldn't do better to do better. So with that, hi on Instagram, and thank you for showing up on either YouTube or Facebook. And if you are on Twitter, please remember that I do not get, if you want to make a comment, and I love comments, keep them with the subject we're talking about though, please. That I love that interaction with life. And so if you're on Twitter, please go to my YouTube channel, Natasha Venter, AngelicClarifications.com, and please subscribe or to push the like button wherever you're at, please, because of the fact that followers do help me be able to do different things on my platforms. So with that I am grateful to be here. So if you can do that on Twitter, go to my YouTube channel or Facebook, Natasha Venter, AngelicClarifications.com. So welcome. When we're talking about relationships, many of us, that's one of the, being intuitive like I am, what is one of the main questions I get? Am I going to have a loved one come into my life? Am I going to get another half? Am I going to get my partner? Am I going to get somebody in my life? And sometimes in the intuitiveness I get, I have to go into how to be a partner to the partner you want to have. Because the fact, if we're not ready to have a partner, how can we have a partner? Now, I can tell you, being married for 30 years, I am different than I was at the beginning, right? I was different. I was younger, more immature. I had different knowings. I didn't have life knowings as much. And so with that I was that way. And now I'm this way. Well, my husband even says I'm not the same woman that I married because of the fact that people couldn't believe this, but I was so shy and quiet that I would not talk to anybody if I went to a party. Now, if I go to a party, I'm the talker and my husband stands in the corner like I did. And so with that, going through the stories and doing through the thing, that we're never going to be who we are and who we want to be, because many times our relationships, our partners are the ones that are here to teach us and have experience with us so that we can grow and be our better selves. Isn't that an ouch? Yes, love. I've always said that, relationships are like a ice cream sundae. You have to have foundation, the bowl, right? You have to have a knowing of yourself. You have to have that understanding. And remember that in order to have a good relationship, if you want somebody to love you, you have to love yourself. as in, as out, as above, as below, as is, as was, right? So with that, the foundation, who are we? Are we secure or are we insecure? It's okay to be insecure. I have insecurities. But the thing is, though, when those insecurities, I've always said, someone who looks very in control of their life usually is the people who are not in control of their life. They are walking on a very fine line. And at any time, the house can break apart because of the fact that they are so in control of their life. They're so out of control of their life. So the more that we don't know ourselves, the harder it is to find someone who knows themselves, right? So being in that moment of trusting ourselves. So there's the foundation, right? And then we have the flavor of the ice creams. Some of us are vanillas, but we have to understand that vanilla is not a plain flavor. So if somebody is more vanilla, you know, who is more plain, doesn't necessarily like a bunch of things. Like for me, I'm good with bland food, bland this, bland that. I have color around me, but if you notice, they all merge together, right? I like things to be in uniform. Well, my other half likes spicy, likes salsas, likes a lot of different things, right? And so if he didn't understand that I like bland and me understand that he likes spicy, how can we have our foundation of our ice cream, right? So it's that understanding of our greaterness, that we have things about us that maybe we don't like, or we don't like something about somebody else. And that's the thing that I wanted to come to too, is that, there's that prayer. The prayer is out there. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I can change, accept the things I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. I know I didn't say that correctly, and I apologize. But the thing is, though, many of us have to be, when we're in a relationship, it's about looking at what we cannot change. And can we live with it? Can we live with it? And the thing about change is that if we cannot change it, that we can understand it and have empathy with it and have and gifts with it, and we may not have to uh, navigate through it the way that we want to. Kind of like for me, I'm kind of not a morning person. So my morning person, other half, gets up and goes and plays golf first thing in the morning. By the time he comes home, I am ready to get going with my day. It works out good. He understands that I'm not going to get up and go for him. Now, let's say if he's in a tournament and I want to go watch him, I do have to get up and go with him, right? Well, but that's something I don't have to change in me, because I know the next morning I'm going to fall asleep and sleep in, right? And if I have to get on a plane, I know I'll get up, but like I know that I'm going to fly out here soon. But what did I do on Saturday and Sunday and Monday on Memorial Weekend? I kind of took my time getting out of bed because of the fact that I wanted to honor myself, because of the fact that I'm not going to have that restful mornings. But that's the thing about life is that if we can have understandings about the things we cannot change, my other half cannot stay up till midnight very well. I stay up to midnight fine. He gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I get up at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. Cannot change, don't want to ask to change, yet we can work it out. Now, this is my observation also about relationships. Many times in a relationship, that we can and will find a partner who is opposites. Now, in other words, my strength is somebody else's weakness. Somebody else's strength is my weakness. So we fill in each other's strengths and weaknesses. As we're going forward, understanding that sometimes we have a balance. I'll give you an example. My partner, and I'm using this as a lot because of the fact this is my observation of things. This is that I don't do good with remembering dates and birthdays and stuff. My other half does too, or it does. So reminds me, do we have a card for so and so? And I say, yes, we do. So I pull out a card because he reminds me. And then um, we talk about who it's for and what do we want to say. And then he asks, can you write it for me? Because I have a way of writing with words that he doesn't. And he doesn't feel comfortable with his penmanship where he knows I do better. So there again, he remembers the date. I get the card and get it all ready. Then he delivers it because I have a hard time getting it out into the mail or getting it out into this or that. So remember, when you're in a relationship, try to absorb what is their weakness and my strength, and what is my weakness and their strength. Because the fact that if we can do that, we find less fault with our mates. We find less faults with our mates. And that is the trick in any relationship. Children, parents, other halves, co-workers, whatever it is, if we can find strengths and know the weaknesses and not judge them, we can usually fill in each other's, right? We can fill in each other's because everybody has something that they do better and something that they don't. And if we accept those moments, there again, what can we change and what can we not? And to know the difference, and can we live with the things we cannot change? Because when, me doing the mediumship work, that there's a lot of times where people ask, when is my loved one going to come in? And I go, so what do you do to create love in your life? What do you do to create the patterns of love in your life? Well, some of us don't do that very well. When we're going into these moments of having a relationship, remember that we cannot be on all the time. We cannot all be perfect all the time. And people expect others to be perfect all the time. We can't. We're tired. And it's okay to say, I'm tired. It's okay to say, I had a very long day. I'm not trying to be moody here. I'm sorry if I am a little snappy. I apologize. Do you mind giving me just a moment so I can gather myself up to do better than I am right now? So when we're honest about things with a partner that values that, many times we can negotiate those stories differently. We can negotiate the stories differently because we're not perfect. Like our kids, talk about relationship with kids, right? Well, our kids, go to school or go to their thing, daycare, whatever, and hi Lauren, and they go to doing those times, and they have to make decisions. They're making decisions all the time. I work one-on-one with some students in the day, and I say, would you like to, one girl is kind of argumentative with me a lot, actually. It's her theme, because she doesn't want to do it, and she's a low reader. So if we don't help her read, she's gonna struggle as she gets older. So, pushing her, tough love, pushing her a little bit is a good thing for her. Well, so I have to have her make a choice, right? Well, would you like to do this or would you like to do this? How do you feel about making this decision, and how do you feel about making that decision, right? Well, that's at the beginning of the day. Can you imagine how many decisions they have to make through the day like that? even which friend to play with at recess. So by the time they're home, it's like, oh my gosh, my brain is hurting. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to do that. So if we can give our kids that time, and and when I was raising my kids, I always said that I'm going to give you a half an hour. Or actually, what I asked them to do is that, okay, since you're still in school mode, do you want to get your paperwork, what we need to finish up, pull things out of the folder, clean things up, do it now, or do you want to wait a half an hour and then come back and do it? Remembering that it's going to be a little harder to get back up again, because I know that feeling. And they usually made the choice, whatever was better for them for that day, right? And so then that way I can give them the time down. Because I can tell you that by the time they came home from school or I came home from what I was doing, that their downtime was actually my downtime. And we all need downtime. Now, did that include making dinner at the time? Did that mean cleaning house? Yeah. But it was better not having that yelling, screaming, expectations. So I gave them downtime. And then it was time to come back to family, right? It was time to come back to family. And so with that if we're going through life and managing our life, that giving each other breaks, saying that, if we've had a hard day, we've had a hard day. Now, one thing that's kind of different about life is that, like, for me, I'm pretty even keel on a lot of different things. My shutdown usually is me kind of getting, we're watching TV and I'm playing solitaire on my phone, right? So that's me shutting down. Well, sometimes if I'm a little moody, my husband doesn't really get the idea because I'm usually not a moody person. Who you see is who usually I am. Maybe I'm a little more energetic right now, but a lot of times I'm still the person that I am. And so sometimes it's like if I come home a little grumpy or edgy or, oh my gosh, I had some bad news today or whatever it is, he's kind of caught off guard because he tends to be a little bit more of the moody person. In this household, that's been over the years, if the husband isn't happy, the family isn't happy. So with that we've kind of shifted that to be, if we're both happier, we get to be happier. And if we have a moment where we're having a harder time, we give each other space. But we're honest about the grumpiness. Now, I'm a little more honest because I'm aware of my emotions a little differently than my husband has been. He's now 10 years sober, so he's learning about his emotions still in a bigger picture. And so with that, he's doing so good that as we're going forward, that sometimes he doesn't understand how grumpy he is because he doesn't have a mirror image. And so that's where sometimes this is where we're a fine line. Do we want to be right in our relationships and work our way righted out of that relationship? Or do we want to have a compromisal relationship? And there's some times where we have to have a little bit of a boundary of tough love when we're in relationships. And going through life, it's not easy. There's been times where when somebody is like a little bit grumpy and I say, honey, I can tell you've had a rough day. Can you please work a little differently on your language with me? Now, some people, that's a big trigger. Some people will accept that. Sometimes there's been times where I say, babe, it looks like we both had a rough day. I'm going to go and do such and such before we interact. I take myself out of the picture because I cannot say the right thing to him because the fact that he would be getting triggered, right? So take myself out. Finding those patterns and respecting, because, there's some days we don't know why we're grumpy. We are just grumpy. Well, so is somebody else because they're not perfect like us, right? We're not perfect. They're not perfect. So giving each other grace, Oh my gosh, giving each other grace. And sometimes it's more one-sided than the other, I'm going to tell you. But I can tell you, though, that practicing it and using those words, I need grace right now. Thank you. I appreciate that. Because when we're going forward and needing the grace and needing the love and wanting this and wanting that, that can make the difference between a relationship lasting a year, 2 years, 3 years, or longer. Because I can tell you that having my longevity of a relationship, it's been growing greater. I can tell you we're more in communion together. I'm not even going to say love, because love is just the icing on the cake. So remember, I told you need the foundation of a Sunday, ice cream Sunday, right? So we have the foundation. That's knowing ourselves, loving ourselves, communing with ourselves, being who we are, knowing ourselves a little bit better, understanding we have emotions. Then we have the ice cream on top. Some of us are vanillas, we're more plain Janes, and some of us are a little more spicy. You'll want Rocky Road, maybe, right? And then you have your bananas maybe, or whatever else you want on top. Well, that's basically, do we have more in common or not? Do we have more in common? I can tell you I've lived 30 years with someone I don't have very much in common with. It's been a struggle. I'm going to tell you it's been a struggle, but it's been something we've worked through. And we've been able to negotiate it because we found each other's strengths, weaknesses, strengths, weaknesses, right? So going through and finding those strengths and weaknesses has given us some commonality, and we're doing it better. We're doing it better because of the fact that finding those commonalities can do it. So your bananas and cherries and all that, or bananas and all the other toppings that you like on your sundae, that's if you have something more, like if both people love to ride motorcycles, let's say, there's a commonality. Or if each of you like to go and go skydiving, it's a commonality. Going forward and finding those commonalities can make your Sunday sweeter, right? Can make it sweeter, your relationship sweeter. Doesn't make it right or wrong. And then we have the flavor on top. Do you like butterscotch? Do you like chocolate fudge? What do you like? Do you like syrups? Those are those personal opinions that cover everything, right? Our personal opinions, our personal belief systems. There's a lot of relationships break up, Democrat, Republican, difference of perspectives that way. Whatever your belief system is. Now, I know that I've had people who have been two different types of religions, and they come together in some commonality because they find that whatever covers, that they can accept that, right? But you have to know that you can live with someone's belief system. That is something you cannot change. Now, there might be some updating, like a computer gets updated or a phone gets updated. But yet at the same time, you cannot change the core person's belief system unless they go through a major life-altering experience. And then you have the cherry on top. The cherry on top is love. The cherry on top is the sweetness. It's the love. It's the communion. It's the ability to be in a room together and sit and appreciate each other for who they are. But you notice that the cherry on top is love. The rest is all the foundation of who we are, what we're doing, and relationships are all that. So knowing that as we're going forward, finding grace for each other is a blessing because we're all going to have time. And remember, though, too, I always pictured relationships like the DNA strand, right? Well, if you look at a DNA strand at the front level, not 3D, but in the 1D, it goes out and it comes back in, and it goes out and it comes back in. So every relationship is going to have a breath out where you're doing something a little more separate and you're not having commonality. And then you can come back together again. But it's finding that inspiration to come back together again for a reason. And then there's another breath out and a breath in and a breath out and a breath in. Now, for some of this, for me, my husband does not like to travel very well. He will. But I go down to California to my girlfriend's place. I know that I can be gone for about 10 days, but I do a lot of inner work, a lot of personal awareness, a lot of personal knowings. I find a lot of my girl time to be with someone because I don't get a lot of girl time here. So there's my inner growth. He's usually doing his inner growth too, playing more golf, having time with the buddies, sitting in the couch after work. He cooks more for himself, so he understands what my story is with that. So he gets a different perspective. And then I come back home and I know that I have done some work. So I have to merge in to our story together. So going forward, because I know for me, when we're together, I end up helping him be happier. It's just a thing that we worked out. And he helps me be happier too. But when I'm gone, that doesn't happen very well as easily as it should, and I wish it could. And so when I come back, I have to understand that sometimes I have to relift life up again, relift it back up, be that part again. So sometimes we have these roles we got to play in our life, right? We got to play our roles in our life. But I can sure tell you that there's other inspirations that he does for me that I know that he does. So going forward and being who we are and negotiating our stories and doing what we're doing in our life, relationships. Oh, thunder and lightning storm. It was just a rumble. Talk about relationships. Some relationships are pretty stormy, right? Some relationships are pretty stormy. I'm going to use this metaphor because the fact that some of us are so passionate that we create passion, and that passion speaks louder than our sitting back and interacting. Because many of us in relationships react instead of interacting. I'll give an example. There's many a times where someone will say something, blah, 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 blah. And we'll go, what do you, blah, 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 right? So we react. Instead of somebody saying blah, 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 well, blah, da, 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 da. Taking a look at where somebody is can help us negotiate our stories with our relationships. Now, a tool that you can use is honesty. Not everybody can be honest in their relationships, right? Not everybody can be honest in their relationships because of the fact that we don't trust ourselves to be vulnerable. And I can tell you that many a times our vulnerability can help our relationships if we're in that kind of a relationship. Now, when my husband was drinking, my vulnerability was a little different now that he's 10 years sober. Playing that vulnerability for where it's at. I also can tell you, hi there on yes, you may ask a question on my YouTube channel. Thank you very much for coming to my YouTube channel. And here again, if you're on Twitter, please go to my YouTube channel, Natasha Venter, Angelic Clarifications. Thank you. Yes, you may. Emily, is it? Yes, Emily. Thank you for coming and watching. And we're talking about relationships here. I am so, they're not easy. Oh, and then we talk about parents' relationships, our relationships with our parents. Oh man, did we realize that they have a story? Do they have a story? And many times we don't know what they went through when they were children. And then they raise us, creating a story of us as children. And it's like, oh my gosh. I have a mother of heart that I'll get to your question in just a minute, Emily. I apologize. Let me finish the sentence. That I was raised by my parents, and then my parents passed away when I was in my late 20s and very early 30s. And then I had a mother of heart who came in my life, a woman who came into my life for about 20 years. And I called her my mother of heart. She stepped in knowing that I didn't have a mom. There's many times where she said this, to me, how do you love me? And I said, because you didn't raise me. I don't know what you did. You didn't, I wasn't your child. I didn't go through the politics of of being your child. And that's why I can love you. I have a story from us being at the age we met till now. And her being my elder compared to me being her younger, that it turned into the mother role because that's where she is. Okay. So, hello, Emily. Thank you very much. You may ask a question. And so I'm on Instagram, and I'm on YouTube and Facebook at the same time with Twitter. So that's where so you want to know what job or you'll have in the future? Okay, so Emily, that's a little bit interesting because of the fact that I am intuitive, but I have not had permission to tap in with you. Yes, you have given me permission by asking that question, but give me a chance to, because I'm in the moment of having a conversation about relationships and that kind of thing. So let me finish this up, and in about another 5 minutes, I'm going to be turning and starting to do card readings. And at that time, I will answer your question because I'll be able to tap in. So if you can be patient, I'd be grateful. So let me finish up on this conversation because that's kind of like going off onto right field. And I need to stay in this field for a little bit longer. Okay. Stay in this lane, and then I'll change lanes into that question because I feel the answer coming in, but I want to make sure that I'm done with the relationship conversation. So with that remembering that when we come into a relationship, the only relationship that we know from day one is our children. And even then, at certain time, they have a life that they go off and do things. Teenagers, we don't know what happens behind closed doors, right? We would hope that they would tell us, but not always. And so with that they are the only ones that we really know what has done. So our parents didn't tell us about their childhood most of the time. And I can tell you a lot of parents have gone through drama. And I don't mean that with any ha-ha-has. It's trauma. The drama caused the trauma. And that drama really made an impact on how they maybe raised us, which then impacts the story of how we raise our children. So going forward, understanding that let's meet people a little bit where they're at. Me being shy and quiet when I first met my other half, right? He liked me being a little bit quieter, and he was very much of a control person, so he liked being able to push me around a little bit. Not anymore. I kind of flipped that coin. That's one thing that happened when my mom passed away, is that I came out of my box and really started speaking a truth for myself. And I got stronger, and he knows that, and he's loving me for it now, which is great. So meet people where they're at. Meet people where they're at. And I can tell you that the day that my husband decided to get sober was the day that he did not stay the same. And I had to meet him where he was at every day in gaining his sobriety, which meant, because there were some habits that I had that I got caught up in because of his drinking, and I had to do some changing, right? So we had to meet each other where we were at. So going forward, sometimes when we're going through a life-altering experience, we have to check in with each other and tap into that. Perspective. We all have a different belief system of perceptions and perspectives. Talk about it. Get to know each other when we're at first. It doesn't hurt to get to know somebody a little bit to find some grace. Knowing that nobody is perfect. And if we are, then that's a facade. So we need to look behind facades when we're talking about relationships. Look beyond the facade of who we truly are, because many of us want to present ourselves as beautiful, right? Yet at the same time, we're not always. And if you've watched my series on Let's Get Tiggered, Not Triggered on my YouTube channel, you'll see that I'm not always perfect because I don't want to be always professional. And I like to be professional here because I take my intuitive work very much with integrity. And I feel blessed to be able to give a truthful reading when I do that. So I do hope this conversation about relationships, if it didn't give you tools, I'm hoping it gave you understanding, which is actually a tool. So one tool would be breathe. Remember to interact, not react. Somebody comes at you. What can you do? I need a minute, please. And then have a conversation. Another tool would be is knowing that somebody else had a day, had a moment. So try to put one foot in their shoe, not both, but one, giving a little bit of understanding, a little bit more grace. There's times when my husband looks at me and I say, I didn't cook dinner. And he goes, I can see why. Giving each other grace, right? And understand that each of us has a story we're coming to this relationship with. So find those things. Can I live with what you're giving me, or can I not live with it? Can I live with the things that I cannot change or you cannot change? Right? Can I accept the things that I cannot change or you cannot change? And remember that usually the universe of love hooks us up with the person that's going to be teaching us our greater lessons. And I can even tell you that includes my kids, right? So as we're going forward, what can we do? Find someone's weaknesses and see if you have that strength and communicate that. I go back to the card situation, right? Or like many times my husband gets anxiety with driving, but sometimes he likes to drive at first and then he expects me to navigate. I'm dyslexic. I say right, I mean left, right? So what we have found is a strength is I do better driving because I like to drive and I don't mind driving in cities. He does. And he does better with navigation because he's not dyslexic, right? So finding each other's strengths and weaknesses and working with them and not judging people for what they are. People come to relationships, people come to scenarios, people come to jobs with baggage. But what is that baggage really here for? Is to help us learn some lessons. Because somebody else's story can usually give us some tools for our own story. So I hope that this helps you because relationships are part of our day-to-day life story. So this is at the stage where I'd love to do intuitive readings. I love intuitive readings with oracle cards, especially when I'm online here. So I'm going to pull out the unicorns. The unicorns have really said, I want to be used. Unicorns. So if you would like a card pulled, please tell me which one you would like. I'm going to do the Wisdom of Avalon, which these cards are a lot of this kind of scenario. Where's, oh, like the path and that kind of thing. So I would love to do that. So if you feel like you want a card reading, please mention which one deck you'd like. So Unicorns, Wisdom of Avalon, or I think the map series wants to come out. So this is like more, and these are all Oracle cards. I don't do Tarot, but this is almost like a Tarot deck, but it works. So if you would like a card reading on Instagram or on Twitter or on Facebook or YouTube, please put in the comments which card you would like. So I'm either going to do the map series, the unicorn, or the Wisdom of Avalon. Okay, so Emily, I would love to support you. What career or job will I have in the future? Okay, I'm calling in your guides, and I'm calling in the knowings. Okay, what I'm feeling like is that your first job, you're going to have kind of like one and then another one in succession. So you're not going to probably stay at the first job that you get right away. What I'm feeling like is you're going to want to find the job to give you financial grounding first. So if that means, I actually see you working maybe in retail or in like a restaurant type situation. You may be able to get into, I almost see you in a more of a swanky restaurant, not like in Burger King or something like that. So either you're doing that now or you're going to be doing something like that. So I see you getting some skills doing that. So then what you're going to be doing is that is going to be your platform to go to your next platform. Do you like working with numbers? Do you like working with organizing people and things? Do you like, because I almost see you that this, no. Okay, because I almost see that if you go into, it depends on what scenario you go into this first job, and it's going to be some kind of, I like organizing though. I do too. That this first scenario that you go into, oh, are you going to become a manager of a situation? I'm checking in with my team as I ask that question. That because managing is organizing of people, right? So if you can negotiate, because I'm seeing you doing stepping stones. You're in this stage right now where nothing is permanent. So if you stay in a job for 6 months, then move up, but there's going to be some, it depends on what your first job is or your second job, that I see that you're going to do some moving in it. Okay, so the way you're going to get in the door, Emily, is you're going to get in the door, and then that doorway is going to lead you to the next scenario. So first off, go for a job to give you a financial balance. Okay, and then as you go forward in that job, that next job will, who you talk to, what you're going to be finding in yourself, you're going to end up going to another job. So when you're in that first job, don't stop looking for another job. Yeah. Okay, so you say, yes, that's right. I can't hold down a job for a long time. Yes, because of the fact that you're more of a starter. You like to start things, but you have a hard time finishing things, right? And so those are called oh, what is it called? Entrepreneurs. So with that, roll with that. See what stepping stone that you're on now can lead you to the next stepping stone. And that stepping stone is going to lead you to the next stepping stone. Communication for you is important, though. It's not what you're doing, it's who you meet to get you to the next thing you're going to be doing. So with that, because a lot of times when I'm doing my intuitive work, that I'm not necessarily giving you the answer. I'm giving you the tool to get to your answers, because your personalities and who you are is more the thing that you're going to have to negotiate in your life, not in this moment that you're having to work in, right? So, so in your moment, remembering life is a journey, what are you getting out of the journey? And a lot of people can listen to this. What are you getting out of your journey in life? What are you getting out of? Because the fact that everything that we're doing in life is adding tools to our tool bag, right? Adding tools to our tool bag. And so if we can negotiate and be in observation mode in our life, it's amazing what tools we can gain to get us to our greater good. Kind of like with me, I was put back when my kids were young into the elementary school system. Very dyslexic. What did I need to learn? How to read again, right? How to do vowels. What are vowel sounds? What are this? So I could have said, "Oh, I'm working at school to be able to be on the same schedule as my kids," and that would be the story. But the journey was me learning exactly how to teach, how to be, how to listen to myself, listening to the vowels, being able to read, being able to type, being able to do newsletters, being able to do a lot of these things. And if I didn't go back to school, I wouldn't have learned it. Another thing that I'm doing too is my intuitive work is helping kids with dyslexia. So I help them read again. I help them learn. And that's what's so exciting is that what my negative thing is pulling it into a positive role. So, Emily, I would like you to look at that for yourself. Don't limit yourself because you have a personal belief. Follow the journey, because the journey is always going to lead you to the next step, and do that with excitement. Oh, what's going to happen next in my life? Who am I going to meet next? What am I going to be pulled into? Because I can tell you that you can step and jump from step to step to step to step and have a wonderful journey if you have that perception. What is going to happen to me next? Where am I going to go next? Oh, I'm feeling like it's time to move on. I wonder where I'm going to go. Oh, this job is getting a little uncomfortable. Okay, time for me to move on. Where am I going to go next? It's that like a couple who came and the husband came home and said, "I lost my job." Pulled out a bottle of wine, had 2 cups of wine, and went on to the next journey. And he had a job sooner than later because of the fact that he had that momentum of positivity, of movement. And we're in a new moon. Oh my gosh, we're in a new moon energy still right now. It happened on Monday, and this is Wednesday, so we're kind of waning off to it. But we're in the new moon stage. So what we think, we may receive. So what are you thinking? What is your journey that you're thinking? Okay, let's see. Will I go back to in the military? Will that be my next step? The question is, do you want to? I don't feel like this is a total calling for you, even though there's some comfort in it. But this is a personal opinion. So when the universe tells me this is a personal opinion, it is a personal opinion. Do you want to or don't you? When you think about it, when you think about going into the military, do you get an up feeling or a heavier feeling? And so with that when you Hello on Instagram. I'm talking to someone on YouTube, and because I'm live on different platforms here. And she's oh, you want to so badly. Then go. Then go. Because of the fact that it is one of those things. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do is be careful of what category you go into. You're not meant to go into a lot of trauma drama. You're not meant to. I don't see you doing that. I see you actually um, going in and helping someone. Um, oh, but all mediums. You know, I'm not like all mediums. And I'm being honest that way. I'm not like all mediums. I do a lot of things. So if you want to do it, I'm asking you though to be careful about what role you play in it. I feel like that your vibration, as much as you want to be in the front, you want to be someone, take one step back and really see what if you went forward in certain categories, that it would be very vibrationally challenged to your being, and it would change your core self. And my love goes to all the military, because there's some people that make that choice and they come back very damaged. And they really have a hard time being who they are. Now, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of people out there that have had past lives as warriors, and they want to be in the military again. They have to remember that this is a lifetime of now. This is a lifetime of now. And so with that there's many different areas of the military that would be suitable for your energetic type. And it's okay. Sometimes we gotta do the things that are, there's some people that are called to be police officers. My love goes to you, because that calling is so strong. Now, family members are going to be scared. This is a scary time to go in the military. It's a very scary time to go in the military. But if you're called to do it, who's to stop you? But you got to check in. Where is that calling? Is it in the head logistics, or is it a calling of the heart and the soul and that knowing of ourselves? That's the question. That's the question. Okay, so I hope that helped you. We're going to get it. If you would like to I do private sessions. So if you'd like a little bit more details, we can do a private session. You can go to my website, angelicclarifications.com, and do a session with me. You can schedule appointments there. And I love to help people go through the process. So, Emily, I apologize, but I would love to give you more information. But this is going to get a little deeper than what I can do on air. And I honor your privacy. Okay. So if you would like an oracle card, you can do Wisdom of the Avalon, which I love these cards. They are different. They have different applications here. You can do unicorns, or you can do the map series, which is basically messages, and I read. So I would read with all of them to help. So Emily, would you like, oh, thank you so much. Yeah, you're more than welcome. I would be grateful to help you, Emily. So would you like a card, Emily? And anybody else who's on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, please go to my YouTube channel and Natasha Venter and ask there, please. If I don't hear from somebody in just a few minutes, because it is 5 o'clock and the map series. Okay, so Emily, I will do the map series for you. Okay, so when I do oracle cards, what I'd like you to do is just put, what question would you like? What question would you like? So Emily, why don't we maybe put that question out that you were asking here? What is it that Emily is to do in the future? Now remember, sometimes it's the application of who we are is what we need to think about more than what do we do. Because if you go back to the military, it's who is going back into the military? Who is doing that? And how are you doing it? What is your personality? What is your intentions? What is your goals? What is your perception? Right? And um, if we go into digging ditches, what is our perception? What is our goals? What is our intentions? And that kind of thing. So intentions are huge. So they may give you a message about more your intention than what you would do. So this is for Emily. Woo! Woo, they popped out. Oh, you get 3 cards, Emily. 3 cards popped out. Okay. Wow. Pretty magical here. Magical shift. Oh, you got some stuff coming up here, my dear. Okay. So the 3 cards are magical map shifter. I'm trying to get some where the light's not on there. So this is for Emily. And then you have Ori Esther. You'll have to excuse my dyslexia here. So it's Ori Esther. And then Stormfields. So I will read first 52. 52. All these cards were upright. Magical map shifter. Okay, so Emily, you'll excuse me while I read because I want to do my better. So if I repeat a sentence, please work with me. Okay, so magical map shifter. Spirit orientates. Okay, spirit orientates everyone's destiny. Upright. When the magical map shifter card arrives, it comes with a mission to make aware of the people who come into your life to impact your personal growth. Perhaps you may meet the soulmate whose presence invites you to be the best you that you can be, or someone who leads you out of difficulty into a place of safety and success. Pay attention to those individuals who cross your path today and cause you to reflect on your journey. Be awake and aware, and you'll recognize them as important change agents they are. Your whole perspective about who you are and why you're here will shift. Magical map shifter always invites you to be the better version of yourself. Boy, that was kind of like I was talking about a little bit, wasn't it? Okay, so now this one, 31. I'm going to go to that. 31. So if anybody else would like a card, please say so. Okay. Dig deep for inspiration and truth. Now is time to become resilient and affable. Is your life presenting you with opportunities that seem to yield nothing? Have your ideas dried up? Does it feel like you're on an endless journey through a dry, hot, lifeless desert? This card reminds you that there are times when you are meant to become as resilient as your journey through the hardships circumstances. You're being required to conserve your energy until after consistent effort you reach your oasis you're searching for. Consider the creators that live, the creatures. Consider the creatures that live in those conditions. They have adapted and thrived in spite of their outer environment. In the desert, water essential for life can be found deep underground. Go deep within yourself now. Find your truth there. Let spirit sustain you while you locate the real source. Whatever it is you're asking about will not be found in the conditions you're in until you move past the surface of things and choose to do the real work and discover the answers deep within you. This may not seem like the most productive time, but looks are deceiving. This is a most important place to find what truly is right for you. And remember what I said about that you have to go in and what is the true calling? Is it your head thinking that you want to do this? Is it the reality of life around you wanting you to do this? Or is this your calling? Go into that calling. Okay, storm fields. I'm going to do the storm fields. So that is 9. Oh, 9 is about endings. 9 is about endings. The number 9. But with every ending is a new beginning. So what is trying to relive in your or reapply? Go forward. Go forward. Okay, storm fields. This too shall pass. Remember, I had thunder. A little bit of rainstorm come in. Thunder while I was on air here. An uncomfortable chaos is surrounding you. Things that you left unattended may be the cause of some conflict. Pent-up energy needs released. Just as a storm in nature must break, for these events occur when the electricity between opposing forces stirs things up and creates temporary disorder. Not all storms are destructive. Rather, they serve nature by bringing rain to the ground and wind to the trees, enabling the seeds to widely disperse and continuous growth to be ensured. Just remember that whatever is being stirred up inside you or between you and another will benefit you later. The sun will shine again. New growth will be observed. Don't be afraid to shake things up a little. So I hope that helps you a little bit, because it's not what you're going to be doing. It's how are you going to do it? Who is going to be there doing what you're doing? Is it going to be a faker person, or is it going to be your truer self? So this is a time to really check into your core self, Emily. Check in with your core self. If you will, like I said, if you would like to have a session, I would be grateful to be able to do that for you. Thank you. So, does anybody else would like a card? Okay, I'm going to do one card for everybody. And then it's time for me to go. I've got things to do tonight. Loving things to do. Magical things to do. This is magical to me. I love doing this work. You're very welcome, Emily. So remember, angelicclarifications.com. It's on the air. It's on the screen there. That's my website. Please I hope you like some of the different things I have on my YouTube channel, because of the fact that I have different Dance of the Soul. I have inspirational quotes. I have let's get tickered, not triggered. Let's bounce instead of getting Okay, so this is the greater good. What magic wants to be created in the story of what the card can be today for this? Woo! They jumped out. This one's 4. So, worth waiting for. Worth waiting for. I might not read all these because of the time. Your patience will be rewarded. So remember that this is a journey, and not everything happens in the timing we want. But one thing that I say to the universe is that if I need it sooner than later, I ask them. I need it as soon as possible in the greater vision that you have for me in the universal time, as soon as possible in the universal time and in the human time. Please, please, please. So your patience will be rewarded. One step at a time. We got to take one step at a time. Lots of little steps make big dreams come true. Remember that. Little steps at a time. Laughter. Oh my. When we rise the vibration up, when we rise our vibration up into laughter, it's amazing what gets called into us. You need good laugh. So remember, if we're in the treasury, oh my gosh, what's happening next? What can I do next? Where can I go next? Usually we don't get anywhere. But then if we end up having laughter, get out with friends, meet people, enjoy life. I put on music half the time when I come home now because I want to dance to create that new balance in my life, right? So create laughter, because being creative is about that movement. It's about moving forward. Draw, paint, think, act in creative ways. So if we want to go somewhere, if we want something new in our life, get creative. I'm on a couple days, I was told by Spirit to light a candle safely. For now, let's see, I've done it for continuously for about 5 days now. So I was told a certain amount of days. So blessings to you all. So the Dance of the Soul will not be on next Monday. I will make a post about that. Will not be on. I'm going to be traveling, and so I will be unable to be on the air. Next Wednesday on my show will be Regan Forston. We do a show together on Mondays, and he's going to talk about hypnosis, and he's going to be my guest. So with that, next Wednesday, I'm going to have Regan Forston on, and I will not be on Instagram because of having a guest. So thank you all for being here. We will see you next Wednesday at 4 o'clock Pacific time. I'm always on 4 Pacific time. And if you're on Instagram, please go to my YouTube channel, Natasha Venter Angelic Clarifications, or my Facebook page, Natasha Venter Angelic Clarifications, to get me live doing this. Blessings to all, and know that no matter where we're at in this world, it is the journey, and who are we to meet the journey? I hope today's show helped. Bye now.